time when I think a lot of very interesting facts and indeed anomalies will have come to light.
Thank you. Senator McDougall has been indicating for some time. Then Senator Boyle.
I support this amendment, and I just wanted to make a few points of a general kind in relation to, firstly, supporting what has been said about the haste with which this bill is being brought through. And I just want to say that it seems to me that the problems and the arrears and the backlog must have been developing for far longer than the last few months, and it's an awful pity that this problem was not addressed much earlier. And I'm also conscious of the fact that the crisis that is taking place in the forestry business and sector generally in relation to the destruction of saplings, that all of this is a sign of weak administration, unfortunately. The second thing I want to say is that I support the Minister's bill and the principle of the Minister's bill. I think that we have to balance the rights of the Irish community as a whole to pursue its afforestation targets with the rights of some people who assert the right to object or to attempt to obstruct the implementation of those targets. And in particular, I would just want to say this. In November of last year, the former member of this House and much missed member of this House, Senator Mary Louise O'Donnell, queried what the then Minister Bruton, was fixing as afforestation targets. And he was saying that there was to be 250 million trees planted in Ireland by 2030, and this was a commitment he made in 2018. We're now in a situation where we are, I think, slightly amending that. We've pushed the goalposts out to 400 million trees by 2040.
It'll be busy.
I think it should be remembered that the Minister Bruton's target involved the planting of 69,000 trees every day, and if you took weekends out of that, in fact, it would be 90,000 trees a day, every day, full stop. And the present programme for government has set not quite as ambitious a target, because it can happen over 20 years rather than 10 years, and the metrics are slightly more relaxed. But, and this is the fundamental point, this is why I support the bill, this country, if it is going to engage in major afforestation, needs to get serious about it. And we need, in particular, to make it possible to comply with the targets we're setting. There's no point in wandering off to Paris conferences or UN conferences and say we have a plan, and then saying, but hold on a second, there are 4 objectors here and 5 objectors there, and the plan just collapses for want of implementation.
Not just a dog.
So the reason that I support this amendment is that I believe that the public has to understand the target, the public has to understand the process, the public has to understand that not everybody can live with a bare landscape around them if we're going to plant 400 million trees over the next 20 years. That the Wicklow Mountains are going to change, that land in Roscommon and Leitrim is going to change, that views which we used to have will no longer be there. We have to get serious if we're going to afforest this country. We have to get serious about it. And Senator Boyan gave me a book about the history of afforestation policy in Ireland, going back to Count Plunkett and Sean McBride and various other people who are determined to transform this country by serious afforestation. It does create jobs. We live in a world where sheep meat and cattle are in decline, And all I want to say is that, there are constraints in relation to that form of agriculture. Forestation is hugely important, and I just want to say, in supporting this amendment, that to bring the people with the process full transparency in relation to the reports that are being received is a good idea, but I just want to be understood, it isn't for the purpose of assisting those minority who actually want to hold up the process of afforestation. I believe in afforestation, and I believe that if we're telling the people the truth about the 400 million trees over 20 years or the 250 million trees over 10 years, we have to get serious about it and stop the cloudology and stop the capacity of people, including people who don't even have to pay a fee, to get involved in afforestation plans and proposals, which are very little concern of theirs. So I'm supportive of the amendment, but I'm much more supportive of the bill.
Thank you, Senator McDougall. Senator Byan, please.
Just to clarify, I'm speaking on the second amendment, which is grouped with this. I'm also the seconder.